This is a HeadGum podcast.
We here with some hot news.
Some hot news.
Hot news. Hot news.
Hot news. Hot news. And the hot news is a black man can't jump with hot news. It's the black man can't jump with hot news. With the black man can't jump with hot news. Welcome to Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Yup.
Yo, we got some hot news for y'all.
Uh-oh, what is it? It's hot. I'm
Tell
ready.
us, Bray, what's the
Yo,
news?
ready.
Okay, so like here's the thing. You know, like the Hollywood Reporter likes to do these like round table discussions
We know.
with
Yes.
actors, directors,
Actors, directors, writers, actresses.
producers. So they did one with. All right.
No, I'm
Why
no,
do
no.
you
I know.
seem angry about
I
it?
didn't do anything.
the
Just
round
the fact
table.
that
I
they
didn't do
do it.
anything. I didn't do anything.
Just the fact that they do it,
I was
you're
waiting
upset.
for Bray to
All
rake
right,
it.
all
Because I understand what Hollywood Reporter is. It's that paper or that magazine that comes out that does these actresses things that present no people of color usually, right?
Right.
Oh, okay. So that's why you're upset.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that's what we're talking about, right? Okay.
Yes. What is it, JB?
But so they had one. They had one with the actors. We're going to talk about the ones with the actors because they had one with the actresses, and there were no people of color.
Oh wait, wasn't there a director's one as well? And then they literally said that, hey, we thought about putting this one black director in, but then we said no.
Right. Literally, that was the reason.
Well,
We
no,
thought about it,
they
and
had-
then we
they
said
said-
no.
they
They
had-
didn't even see if that person was available. They were just
No,
no.
Oh, actually, that
To-
person asked.
to defend the person in the article, it was like he felt really strongly. Like it was a struggle for him to pick, do I let this director in or do I go with Ridley Scott? So I mean, hey.
But
you know.
with basically, he was saying like Ridley Scott is more popular director, and therefore it was just it's better
I'ma
for them
say
to
it.
have a better.
Fuck Ridley Scott.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
hey, Ridley Scott, hey, that was
I don't know
James
about
III.
that.
That was James III who said that.
Yo,
And I will,
I'm
and I
trying
will
to be.
come back again. Yes, James III said, "Fuck Ridley
Whoa,
Scott."
okay. I'm trying
This
to
hot
be.
news is getting hot.
I'm trying to be in The Martian too, guys.
Hey, look,
I would like to be in the.
I saw Prometheus, and I like Prometheus.
that. I don't know why. 'cause
Yeah,
that movie's
yeah.
garbage.
But I
anyway,
can say
Braylock,
it.
please.
Yeah,
go ahead.
seriously.
What you gotta
I
say?
know what you're doing. So anyway, Will Smith, y'all.
Will Smith.
Oh,
Yo, I love Will Smith.
I love me some Will Smith.
Concussion.
Yeah, but so he was in this round table, and they had a pull quote from him. He said, "Racism is actually rare, but prejudice is everywhere." So wait, hold on though. But let's break it down just a little bit. He said there's a difference between racism and prejudice. Everybody is prejudiced. Everybody has their life experiences that make them prefer one thing over another. It makes them prefer a blonde over a brunette. If you see somebody with dark skin walking down the street, you have a different reaction than you have with someone who's 5'1" and white. And then he said the word racism implies that your race is generally superior. And I have to say I live with constant prejudice, but racism is actually rare. Someone who thinks their race is superior. So that's what he was saying. And then he was saying that there are people who are racist in Hollywood, it's very rare. And then somebody was like, well, can you guys combat racism? Samuel L. Jackson, who was also on the panel, just said no. And then Smith was like, I think as actors we have the ultimate power. Anyway, so what y'all think about that?
It's very interesting because
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a whole lot, and I appreciate the way that way his original statement turns around.
Yeah.
Because like to say there's no racism, but there is, but the racism is rare, but there is prejudice,
which is
You
like
start
it's
to go-
racial prejudice.
It's racial
too.
prejudice.
Racial
And so you
prejudice.
start to go, is he saying that it's not racial? And then he starts, like the more he goes on, like
yeah.
we get like, okay, he means that, which
Yeah.
I think is,
I think it's unconscious bias. Almost.
Yeah.
It's like I think of like I understand what he's saying is I feel like people aren't doing things out of hate of like racist. It's like
Right.
like he said, it's like you've been brought up to think a certain way, and it's like, oh, I may just never have noticed, this black person playing a role like this. Because I've just never But then how do you fix
I don't understand what he says when he says that ultimately actors
Yeah.
have the ultimate power, because that's clearly not true.
right? Like
I don't-
what
It's just not true
we
at
have
all.
the power to do what? We're literally at the whim of who gives us the role, who casts us. What's the power that we have
like
to do?
actors' the ultimate power of actors, like are in such brief windows. Like, you know what I mean? Even superstars, it's like if they make 2 films in a row that don't do well at the box office, then they lose so much power.
Yeah, and
You know?
but does he mean? So then, what is the power that he means? Does he mean that we have the power to change what those prejudices are because we can choose to not accept certain roles?
But the thing
and
is,
then
how do you work?
exactly, how do you work?
And the thing is, I think it's interesting to realize that Will Smith has had a different career than, for instance, Samuel L. Jackson. Because Will
course.
Smith, I mean, I know I said it. Like, Will Smith is like, I've
He's a
called him
golden
colorless.
child.
Yeah, I've called him colorless. Like, white people love him, black people love him. But he's had that perfect window. As you look at Sam Jackson came up through the Spike Lee ranks of doing black, quote unquote, black films, and like elevated himself to like something that became Sam Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, he was in other movies too, but
Yeah.
he was always playing, you know,
Yeah, you know.
he was like a
A
crackhead,
crackhead, a
or the
thief.
dude who was robbing the store,
Yeah,
coming
you
to
know.
America.
Specifically, that character.
But Bray, like you said something that was interesting. Like
He
you
was a
said,
crackhead
like
in Pulp Fiction.
oh, he was. You said it like in the article, like they
Not
asked
Pulp Fiction. Sorry, the
in the one with Halle Berry.
one
when they
before
placed-
it.
The one with Halle Berry was she was trying to get her kid
the
back.
one with Halle Berry, Louis
'Cause-
Isaiah.
Losing Isaiah, because Halle
Yeah.
Berry was a crackhead. And he was a crackhead
Goodfellas.
too. He was a crackhead.
Right.
In Goodfellas
When
too?
you said the other one, I was,
I was
like,
thinking
you're talking about Quentin
I'm
Tarantino.
I'm not talking about Quentin Tarantino. I'm talking about Goodfellas.
He's
Yeah.
a crackhead in that too.
I remember he was a dude who died like real quick.
Yeah, I know
in
they
Goodfellas.
killed him quick. But he's a drug dealer.
Anyway, all right. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
but that's okay.
sorry. But you said something like where they asked how to combat racism or any way to combat racism, and Samuel Jackson said no.
Yeah, he said we can't. No.
And I think it's funny because I think that just shows the difference between those two actors in particular, of like the difference of what they came up with. Of like Sam Jackson
Yeah.
being like, bruh, I know what people say about me. Like, I know what this world is like.
Right.
Will, you
and
don't
also,
know.
But also, Samuel L. Jackson's response is an answer, and Will Smith's is confusing. Like, what?
I think
Can-
he was.
can
I
you
think.
combat
I think he was trying to say that, like, as actors, we tell story. I think he was thinking more general, not like as like in terms of like in the film industry. He's like, as actors, we tell stories, and stories are powerful. Movies are powerful, and you can change people's minds through like your storytelling, your portrayal. So you
Right.
being a person
But-
of color in a major role, if you're an actor and you're bringing a human element to it, and
but
people
that
are
doesn't-
seeing you, then they can relate and be like, oh wait, our races can't be that different because I'm just like this person who I'm seeing before me
But
on
that
the screen.
doesn't answer. But that doesn't.
oh no.
But that's all an interpretation. Like that doesn't. That doesn't
No,
say.
James,
I'm just
you're
trying
right.
to-
Did Will Smith just? I can't say it.
What do you do?
Did Will Smith just cover his own buttocks with that answer?
What you trying to say?
What you trying to? Did he?
Oh no, I can't say it. No, because think about Sam Jackson
You
took a
gotta say
stand.
it.
Like
Yeah.
Sam Jackson was like, "Can you combat racism?" Sam Jackson was like, "No." Will Smith basically said, almost gave you the politician answer, like, "There's a problem, but he wouldn't pass." Like,
But let me tell you a story. Let me tell you this.
Oh,
My
no.
answer is gonna be a poem. Let
Well,
me give
he's
you a poem.
you know, it's Obama. He's hopeful. He's optimistic.
Yeah, but he could at least say the word racism.
He should have said racial
He
prejudice.
should have said, yeah, like
Yeah,
he,
he
didn't-
racial prejudice.
He tried to like he was like I felt like when he was like, "Oh, you might prefer a blonde to a brunette." I'm like, "Yo, my dude, that prejudice is not the same
yeah,
as
it is
racial
not.
prejudice."
It is not.
I don't know. It's like it's not like I prefer a hot pocket, you know.
For a pocket to some,
Yeah,
to
and
some
it-
bagel bites.
it's like
It's like
I
I'm
appreciate.
prejudiced against bagel bites.
I want that bagel bite.
I do appreciate that he defines it. You know what the difference is, because I do think that that's important. I do think that a big problem into what we do as people is
Right.
we have generalizations
Yes.
that we are dealing with as opposed to specifics, and and there is a difference between racism and prejudice.
I think so,
And
too.
so
Yeah,
to
I agree.
to like lay that out, that's great. But
Yes.
then
Yeah, I agree.
what do you do next? You know,
Right.
like what you do next could actually help to change something.
Right.
And I just feel like that.
Because just to piggyback off you real quick to make this last point is that when people, I think what happens is a lot of times people will go, "I'm not racist," and when they're saying that, they're thinking about like, I don't think white people are just inherently better than black people. Like I don't think that, but. And so sometimes when we say you're being racist, what we actually mean is you're being racially prejudiced.
Yeah.
And you have unconscious bias.
Yeah.
And so therefore, distinguishing those things, maybe it'll make people less defensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like that kind of thing is less, is like ingrained in you and
Like
you know what I mean? You're educated.
I want everybody to know that this is a real thing that happens. I write plays, I write screenplays all the time. And I have to, well, early on, it's not like this anymore. But when I was first writing in like middle school and high school, I would have to make sure I wrote that the character was African American so that I would remember that I was writing a black person. Because when I would write my lead characters, they were everyman, which, as we all know, the everyman is a white guy he's probably brunette. You know what I mean? But like I had to tell myself, like, oh, that's right. I'm writing for this person is black. I want this lead character to be black, and so like I think that everybody has that. I personally think that because of the situation in the media, we all have this, or there's an element of this, and I think we all need to confront it and face it.
I agree. Yo, that's some hot news for you, son. Let's get into the show.
Jonathan Braylock, James III, Jerah Milligan.
What more can I say? You know what it is.
Black men can jump.
In Hollywood.
Black actors, man. Black actors. All right.
Welcome to Black Men Can't Jump in
Black Man Can't Jump.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Black Man?
Happy.
James,
Stop
what's happening? James,
doing
what are you doing?
Gangster noises.
I don't know. I just get real excited.
Oh,
and
God,
Oh,
you
my
just
goodness,
I'm sorry.
bring the integrity of the show down every time.
Do I?
We just
You
lost
do.
all
I'm
the white
sorry.
listeners.
All the
You
white
did
listeners
gunshots.
are gone.
Scared.
Wait,
they run
sorry.
away.
Should I have done a horn?
That's just racist. What horn is
How
that?
is that racist?
What horn
What?
is that?
Wait.
What horn is that?
Why is that
I have
racist?
so many questions. Why is it racist?
Because I'm like, what kind of horn? What kind of horn is that?
I
I
was
don't
just
like.
trying
Wait,
to do
no,
like
no,
a
no, no.
pure
Time out,
sound.
time
No,
out.
don't bring this on me, Ray. Don't bring this evil. on
What
me.
kind of horn
Don't
is
bring
that?
Don't bring this evil. On
I
me.
mean, I agree. What kind of horn
I
is
was
that?
trying to do like a trumpet,
Okay, but it's not racist, Jerah.
Yeah, what's racist?
Hey,
about
hey,
that?
you know what? Let's start the episode, man. Y'all go. Hey, how you flipping on me that?
Oh my goodness.
Producer Nick, you see what happened?
Why are you talking to Nick?
Because y'all stay doing this, man.
Not on
All
microphone.
right, listen here. Happy belated thanks. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Whether you
We are in the
celebrate
holiday season.
Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah.
Man, you really hitting the first consonants.
I'll make sure
of
they
all
know.
those words.
Is there anything else I forget?
There are other holidays.
Feliz Navidad.
That's just saying.
That's all our Latino
That's just
listeners.
saying Merry Christmas.
That's all our Latino listeners. Don't pretend like everyone didn't have to learn Feliz Navidad, like the song when you were
Yeah, I
out
know,
and like
but
middle
you
school.
said-
Feliz
but you
Navidad.
You said it like it was a different holiday.
I'm just saying. I was trying to make sure we bridge the
In
gap.
case you left anybody out
I was trying to make
with
sure
holidays, but you were just trying to connect to more people,
to more people,
Yeah.
man.
So
which
anyway,
is we're thankful.
Producer Nick, do you
all
see
right.
what's happening?
Here's the thing, guys. It's the holiday season, movie season. I think is never better than this time.
Yes.
Yep.
Obviously, a lot of movies coming out, and we wanted to do this for a long time.
Yes.
We just kept missing it,
Yeah.
but we finally caught it. We got
Up to date movie.
an up-to-date, a current film with a black lead.
Yes.
Good goodness.
Woo.
And the first one,
Hold on, wait. It's more. It's a black lead, a black director,
Oh.
a black writer. Good Lord.
That's
Oh.
true.
Woo.
Black
Yes.
directors.
We doing this
and
on
black
Sunday too,
writers.
y'all. Y'all know we tape.
And not only that, but it is a part of a beloved franchise.
A beloved
it's-
franchise.
Ah, my goodness.
A franchise with not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but now is this
It's
is
seven.
six.
This is the
This is the
seventh one.
Seventh.
Rocky
correct, 'cause
Balboa
Rocky Balboa.
is number
Seven.
6,
Yeah.
right?
So this is the seventh one. And let's not
The
forget that
seventh.
Rocky, the original, was nominated for an Oscar.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
yes. So if you haven't guessed by now, we're doing the movie Creed.
Creed, baby. Creed.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. It's one thing I feel like we're doing Creed.
Featuring Michael B. Jordan.
Women, I've seen older women go nuts with Michael B. I was in the theater
Hey.
watching this movie.
Hey,
women were like, Michael B. He's like a cute
My
pit bull.
girlfriend loves Michael B. Jordan.
I'm
not cool.
My girlfriend and I love Michael B. Jordan. We love him together. I saw Creed without her, though. She's not allowed to see this movie. That man is shirtless entirely too much.
He's pretty buff.
And he looks great.
He looks great. He's a great actor. This dude is killing it.
Just directed by Ryan
Coogler. Yes.
Coogler, and then co-written by Aaron Covington.
Yeah.
UCB LA, yo.
UCB LA. Shout out to our homies on the West Coast.
West Coast Negroes, what's up?
Represent.
Cheer.
Don't you?
Okay.
How you got to do?
I'm sorry. Wait.
We just lost another 100 listeners.
What is that?
That's my.
Stop your racist trumpet.
Oh my goodness!
All right, so let's
do this.
let's do this.
Yeah, okay,
I mean,
so-
like, what do we have to set up?
You
I
want
guess
to do the breakdown of what the movie is.
breakdown of what the movie
This
is.
is the breakdown of the movie. Okay, so this is the movie Creed. Like we said, it's the 7th film in the Rocky franchise. For those who don't know Rocky,
If you don't
No,
know
I'm
Rocky,
just-
Google it.
Here's what I'll say though, because
Rocky-
I might be the only one here who hasn't seen any of the other Rocky movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
wait, you haven't seen any of them?
I haven't fully seen any of the others.
Okay.
But I've
only fully seen the first one.
Yeah, and I have seen. I saw. Yeah.
I've seen all of them.
I saw the
Wow.
I saw the part in Rocky 4 that is essentially the inciting incident for this movie.
Really?
But
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I've seen that. I've seen that whole part, and I feel like I've seen a lot of the first Rocky, but I've not seen.
I've definitely seen all of it.
Yeah, and I will just say before JB says what the movie is about, that I don't think you need to. I don't think you even
100%.
need to have
They do
seen
enough
any.
backtrack.
And actually, and we should have said this earlier, but if you haven't seen the movie and you're like, are they going to spoil it? We are, but not yet. We'll tell you when.
Yeah, we'll tell you.
We'll tell you when.
we
We're
won't
going
do
to
any
talk about it
spoilers.
spoiler-free at first. So, first of all, you should see this movie.
Yes, please support Young Black Hollywood.
You gotta go see it.
um,
I want to see it again already.
I'm gonna see it after we do this podcast again, just so you guys know how this episode is gonna go for me.
So, essentially, if you don't know what happens in Rocky, it's okay because they kind of explain it in the film.
Oh,
but
yeah,
just for context, Creed, Michael B. Jordan's character is actually the illegitimate son. I use the word illegitimate in the old-fashioned sense of meaning born out of wedlock from an affair. So his mom had an affair with Apollo Creed, who was the boxer that Rocky faces in Rocky 1 and 2, and he loses in 1. Creed wins in 1 and then loses in 2.
Yep.
And then in 4 he dies.
Yeah.
He dies in the ring.
And
He dies in the ring.
It is
gets
okay.
beat
You
bad.
guys have to see that. You don't have to see it, but you must go see the death scene. Like watch it because it is. Oh, it is. It
Heartbreaking.
hits you. It hits you.
And so basically, his son never knew his father. You know, he is raised by Creed's wife, not his mom. His Creed's wife.
His mom's died. I think he said right.
I don't know.
Yeah, his mom.
His mom died.
His mom died.
They never
when he
said
was
how.
young.
Okay, it's that mom died when he was young, and so, you know, he obviously Creed's, you know, I guess not biological mother, but mother for all intents and purposes, the person who raised him since he was a little kid, doesn't want him to be a boxer. Obviously, her husband died in the
obvious
ring,
reasons.
and
she witnessed it. She was
but
there, she
he
saw
still wants to be a boxer. And then he goes and he finds Rocky, and he's like, "Can you train me?" And then essentially he does, and then boom, you guys. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's the movie.
That's it. That's the movie. So, I mean, what other context do we need to give? That's it.
That's it.
That's
I mean,
the
that's
context.
it.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, initial thoughts. I mean,
Initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts.
Should I start?
Y'all should start. Yeah.
I'll start because I like this movie a lot. I think I probably like it the least out of the three of us.
Yeah, probably.
But that's not because I don't like it. It's just because I'm like boxing movies in general. I'm just like cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
all right. I'm not a big boxing fan. Like I never have been. Like there's like, I think the sport of boxing is a little weird to me.
Yeah.
Like that and the UFC, it's just like people beating the crap out of each other. And I understand. And there's a part of like that macho-ness that you're like, that I feel as a man sometimes. I'm like, I get into it a little bit, but then there's another part of me that's just like, this feels like gladiator games.
Yeah,
it does.
Like,
Crazy.
It does.
Like, I mean, like, I watch football, which is just, I guess, as bad. It can be just as bad. But like boxing, I'm just like, these people, you're literally knocking each other out. Like, a knockout is the goal to like knock somebody unconscious.
As many headshots as you want to.
Yeah, which like, goodness gracious, and everybody's seen Muhammad Ali, and anyway. So, but I thought the film was just beautifully made. I thought the directing was amazing. I thought the acting was really great. Sylvester Stallone, we could talk about.
I thought he did good.
I thought he did good for this movie. I still like every time I see Sylvester Stallone now, I'm like, man, without Rocky, I feel like this dude would have had a. Sorry, I'm crapping on Sylvester Stallone.
Well, no,
I thought he did.
I thought he does. I think he does a great job in this movie, and it's interesting that you say though, like without Rocky, maybe he wouldn't have ever been. Maybe wouldn't have been more than that, right? Maybe
he created Rocky. He wrote it, so.
But like, and I'm so fascinated by him continuing to return to the role. Right. And Rocky Balboa, I mean, I know the story of that, right? Is that like,
he's
it's
old
him
and he
as
fights.
an older, and he fights, right? And obviously this movie is not about him being a fighter, which I think it's about him now being a trainer, which I think is like such an interesting
totally
thing.
Great twist. But I just was like really impressed with the way the film was told. Now, as far as like, how this film handles race, I mean, I think it handles it really well. I think it's like the most, and we'll talk about this maybe, but the most, the biggest problems I had was not with the film itself, but the previews that were shown before the film. And I was like, why are you guys trying to act like this is a black movie? Because there are so many trailers for movies that, to me, like very seemingly catered to
black audience.
A black audience.
Yeah.
Freaking Barbershop 3.
Yeah.
Being one of them. And like, and I was like, what? Who do you guys think is watching this? Do you guys think only black people are watching this movie?
Yeah.
Like, this is Rocky.
But to piggyback off of that, and I guess I'll say my initial thoughts too, but I thought that was great. I missed most
I didn't like that.
Interesting.
I didn't like that.
I see what you're saying.
I missed most of the trailers, but I got to see the Barbershop trailer. And like I said, when Barbershop first came out, I was really excited about seeing it. And I am now really excited about seeing Barbershop 3.
Is that because you auditioned for it or because you genuinely are happy to see it?
No, for the same reason I was excited before. Look at all those fun people in a movie together. I cannot wait to see those fun people.
You can't wait to see freaking Nicki Minaj be... Oh,
yes, I can. Yes, I can't. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I do think it's interesting because Braylock put a good point. When I saw this movie in D.C., and it was definitely two Kevin Hart trailers, two Ice Cube trailers, and then like another black movie that has skipped my mind. And it's interesting because like, why did they?
But what's great about that too, though, is those movies are tacked onto this, right? Because this movie has three major black roles in it, right?
Yeah.
That's it though.
And three major.
What do you mean? That's it.
No, I'm saying, but does that make it like that doesn't make it
three
like,
major out of like.
No, I'm saying,
but this
great.
movie isn't catered to like just a black demographic.
Yeah, but now a thing that who knows if this is going to happen. Maybe none of those white people that go to see this movie are going to be like, you know what, I can't wait for Barbershop 3 now. But they might, you know.
True.
I see what you're saying.
True.
They're
this.
But I don't think that was the intention of putting those trailers in.
I mean, absolutely not. The
intention was
has three.
It has black leads, so black people are going to see this movie, and therefore we'll have to put these black trailers.
It's the Spawn. It's the Spawn effect, right? It's the Spawn effect. They were like, we didn't want to cast this guy as the black man that he is in the comics because if we have those three major black roles, this will be a black movie. Like that's how Hollywood looks at it, which is
because there were so many comedies. It was like I was like, this Rocky Creed isn't even a freaking comedy,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Why are you putting comedy trailers in front of this movie Creed? The only reason they were doing it is because those other movies had a majority black cast.
Yeah,
I'm like, we don't need to be seeing the trailer for Cop. What is that movie?
Ride Along.
Ride Along 2. Come on, man. What the flip does Ride Along 2 have to do with Rocky?
Kevin Hart.
Nothing.
I mean,
why don't you put another boxing trailer in front of this movie? I'm sure there's another dumb boxing movie.
The more you guys like Concussion probably should have been a trailer for that. Probably
Concussion.
should have been.
That's the movie I saw.
Oh,
I went to go
Concussion
see
was a
Concussion
trailer.
Was it there?
trailer for
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that,
it
I mean,
was, it
that
was.
makes sense.
Concussion was in
No, you're right.
Concussion makes sense.
Concussion does make
Concussion
sense.
makes-
But it's just very interesting. But in this grand scheme of things, it was like every trailer. There was only one trailer that they put in front of that movie. And it was just this weird Egyptian gods movie, which also is like Egyptian gods.
Oh, you mean Egyptian gods that has the white people playing
All
Egyptian
white
gods,
people
right?
playing Egyptian gods.
Oh, was that trailer also?
Which,
in
so
front
I
of
was
this?
like, literally every trailer, I was just like, oh my God. I was like, every trailer has a black lead, and the one that doesn't is the movie that should actually have black leads.
It's like the one about Egyptian gods.
I'm
Got
now
blonde
mad
hair.
that
I am-
mad that I missed the trailers. Now.
I am excited to see that Dwayne Johnson Kevin Hart movie though. That looks
Wait, they're doing a movie together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the premise?
It's like
Like
Kevin Hart was like
Do the
cool
trailer
guy.
for me right now, real quick.
Kevin Hart was the cool guy in high school, and like now he's like a dentist. But The Rock was fat in high school, joined the FBI or CIA or something like that, and he comes back because he needs Kevin Hart's assistance for some reason, and it's a buddy cop comedy.
Yeah.
which is basically Ride Along, except for you take out Ice Cube.
It's true. It's
drop in
actually
Kevin Hart.
just like right along. Okay, somebody else do
You
initial
go.
thoughts.
Want me to go?
We're talking about trailers
You
too
go.
much.
I freaking love this movie.
All right.
I'm not gonna lie. I had an emotional roller coaster during this movie.
Yes.
Only because
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because like guys, I like to cry. I'm a very emotional man. I cried probably 3 times.
No spoilers.
3 times. No, it's not a spoiler. I cried the first time. The first time I teared up because I was like, this movie is a movie that is a blockbuster, right?
Yeah.
Comes
Yeah.
out at Thanksgiving, and that poster has a black dude on the cover of that poster. That movie was written by. And things these
So
aren't.
wait, you just cried at the beginning. Like,
Oh,
just,
I'm talking
the
about before I
movie
even walked
starts
in.
and
Before I
you're
even
just,
walked
like,
in.
crying.
Before I walked in, I was already deep in it.
I'll be honest. I teared up a little bit when I saw
Man.
the Star Wars trailer.
Dude, I was
I was like,
emotional.
there's a black lead in the Star Wars movie. I started tearing up.
It's
All right, sorry,
crazy.
continue.
No, but you think about this one.
Yeah.
This one, these aren't, and that made it so interesting to me too. Is like these aren't people with like family connections that has something to do with this. Like Aaron, Ryan, Michael B are 3 young black dudes under 30. Ryan might be 30 now, but like all of them, like Ryan was a
they just
construction
did
worker.
it. They just
like
did
they
it.
just did. They like Michael B. Of course started when he was super young.
Do you know if did they go to
They
Sylvester
pitched,
Stallone?
yes. So the
Yeah.
thing is, they after Fruitvale Station, whatever, they have like a deal. And call me out if somebody here says I'm wrong, but like the idea is like they have a deal, like one of those picture deals.
Yeah.
They wanted to do Creed because like apparently Ryan always wanted to do like this Rocky spinoff. So apparently they pitched Stallone. He wasn't on board yet, so they went back and wrote it, and it came back to him with a script, and he was like, oh. I mean, if you think about it, Stallone has really good. Like, if you watch this movie, we won't spoil it yet, but like he has really good. He has a meaty role. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
huge,
Oh, yeah,
but it's definitely like
it's
something.
Oh, it
a
is
really
pretty big.
interesting take on the Rocky character.
Yeah, and it's good.
But it was like the fact that it was in the hands of these young guys who hadn't even. I think
weren't alive yet.
When they first went to him, they didn't even have a movie yet. They hadn't
This-
even.
what- it was an
they hadn't
idea.
even made. But they hadn't even made. Fruitvale wasn't even out.
Yeah, true. Fruitvale wasn't out yet.
Wasn't even out yet. So like. It wasn't even like it was like, oh, here I have this successful movie. Like I just have this idea for it. I have this idea for the next stage of this character that you're famous for. And
I wasn't
there's
alive
no-
when you
yeah.
made that movie.
crazy.
76, I think was Rocky came out. 76.
Crazy.
But the thing is, so watching that movie, like I was always super emotional about that, and then watching it and realizing, like, Michael B's character in it. Like, for instance, I'm just thinking about like Michael B in general. Like, I know we talk about like the Will Smith effect. Like right now, Michael B is, I guess, our generation's Will Smith, if you will, because he's like, for the most part, he is the most famous young black actor we have. Like, we may have like, we have a couple other ones. Like, I'm pretty sure the lead kid from Star Wars, John, is going to be huge too. But Michael B right now is that guy that people saw grow up, and people saw like now at this like adult level of just like killing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the fact that like, man, the fact that in this movie, this dude his character is educated, which they comment on in this movie. He's educated. He is 3-dimensional. I hate to say, I love that his girlfriend in this movie is black with braids. Like, that made me so happy. And I love, like, can I say one spoiler thing?
No,
Not yet. Not yet.
All right, fine. I love what
there's another part that Gerard loves.
But all
I
right,
just love-
we're just doing initial
yeah,
thoughts.
I love what he calls Sylvester Stallone throughout the movie. And like to me, like that's what I say to like my family. And it's like to me, it's like it just felt so realistic.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I loved it.
All right.
I loved it too, and I definitely went on an emotional roller coaster. I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't seen any of the other Rocky movies, so I was just watching this fresh. And
Me too.
I followed everything affected me so heavily. I really loved the way it was shot. It looked
So well
beautiful.
shot.
The handheld nature of the fight sequences
the fights were great.
are just incredible.
There's a very long one take shot in this movie.
Oh my goodness!
There's a couple actually.
Yeah.
But there's one that for a fight scene, and it's
That's just
so
like
good.
it's just that stuff was amazing. I also loved their relationship. The relationship
God,
between
so
Creed and what was her character name?
Oh my goodness, what is her name? I just know
but-
Tess Marie.
Thompson.
Tessa Thompson.
She was great. And just that was wonderful. And then just personally, because there's the father element to it, the father-son element to it. Netflix always suggests to me father-son emotional dramas.
I love father-son emotional.
And I didn't even know that was a thing that I loved until I started seeing it on Netflix. And then the second I realized that was a strong element of this movie, because I don't know. I guess I couldn't tell from the trailers that it was going to be such a heavy part of the movie.
Right.
Bianca.
Bianca.
name is
So Bianca. That's right. And she's on post. Her name is on.
yeah.
It's on things. I don't know why. I'm an idiot for not realizing. But that really hooked me in, and I am a huge fan of this movie. I want everybody to go see it.
This is the first movie I ever felt jealous of another person before.
Who?
Like, I was so happy. This is the thing about the motor coaster, because I was so proud to be a black man while watching this movie, but also was like, for some reason, in my heart, I was like, I was a little jealous of Mike. I was like, yo, Mike gets to make a Rocky movie.
Yeah, 28-year-old.
And get accolades. I was like, yo,
young black dude.
Like, that's the dream, man.
What's great is I get jealous a lot. So for you to be like, it was the first time being jealous, I had the opposite. This was one of my first times of being able to look at this movie and be like thankful for seeing someone,
it was
seeing
great.
a black man. And so it's like I had the reverse, but probably because I am typically jealous.
Okay, let's spoil this joint.
Oh, we spoiling it. It's
spoiling
spoiling
this
time.
joint.
Sorry.
All
babies.
right, so if you didn't see the movie, go see it, and then come and listen to the rest of this episode. And if you did see the movie, or you just don't care about spoilers, which is actually okay, because it's like to me it's like a Shakespeare thing. It's like,
I don't care.
even
about
if you know what happens in it, it's
Would
still,
never taint it for
it's,
you.
yeah,
And
it's not really
I will also say that the way this movie plays out, it's not predictable. I don't want to say that, but I don't think that there's any one thing that we could say.
it wasn't. Nothing was too surprising.
that you would really be like, oh fuck. Well, now I can't see the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing that. Wait, let's talk about what you wanted to say, which is
the one I wanted to say is, like, throughout this whole movie, so, like, Adonis technically doesn't have his father in his life because his father's died, and his real mother is gone because his mother died. So technically his closest family bond he thinks is Rocky, which he calls throughout the movie, he calls him Unc.
Yeah.
Well, his closest male
Male.
bond.
His male
Yeah.
is like so he calls him literally throughout this whole thing is Unc. And I feel like
calls him uncle, yeah.
and the only time that, and I might be wrong, the only time I remember race being brought up is when he's moving in with Rocky and Bianca's upstairs and he's like, oh, this is my Unc. And he's like, but he's white.
Well, he had said before that he was moving to his uncle, and he's like, "That's your uncle?" He's like, "But he's white."
And then Rocky goes like, sometimes. What did he say? Like Rocky
he had some
Rocky
fun.
has like a funny line of like something like that. Anyway,
Definitely some improvised line.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, she immediately after says like, "Why don't you tell me your uncle
Uncle
was
was
Rocky
Rocky
Balboa?"
Balboa.
It diffused the racial mention of that stuff.
I mean,
but there was something about that. It's not I'm not really critiquing the movie, but just so people know, when she's like, "But he's white," I'm like, "I have white uncles."
but that was something that I thought was
Also, like, she's a mix.
right.
She seems
yeah.
mixed.
And she also seems like she might be mixed.
So it just was like, okay, so what? He's
But
white.
that's something that. Well, yeah, but I think
Also,
he's
your
white.
black aunt could be married to a white uncle, and he would be your uncle.
But I think the point of he's white because she recognized that he was Rocky right away.
Exactly.
So the point
It was more of a joke.
The point of he's white was for a joke.
It was for a joke.
And piggybacking off of this idea of Unc, I thought that names in this movie were so important.
I thought they were. Oh my
and I
God.
thought that was so great. The
Adonis?
way, like Adonis, Donnie,
Bianca. The name that character, the fact that her name was Bianca,
Yeah.
was so important. Like how?
Wait, why?
Because the thing is, like, Bianca is a very like I'm not gonna call her urban, but Bianca. When I think of Bianca's, I think of like either black or Latino women, and I think it's the fact that she had braids, the fact that like the thing is like she was like in a power like
I know a Bianca
like,
who's Italian.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, sexy. I don't know why I mean that sexy. I've never.
No, but like, and then also just sort of the, he starts the movie as Johnson, he ends the movie as Creed, and
his trunks has like
Oh,
both
yes,
names
of
on
trunks
it.
have both names, and,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
And when Bianca says your uncle is Rocky Balboa, that holds weight.
does.
Later on the movie when it gets spoiled that he is Creed's son.
Yeah.
What that means to him changes. He goes on a ride of like feeling what that feels like.
Well, he's trying to get out of his father's shadow, but then also at the same simultaneously does want to live up, to the name.
Right.
But he wants to do it on his own without help, which is an interesting thing. But wait, can we real quick? Let's talk about this whole like it makes the point that he is rich, right? Creed, because Creed was a very amazing boxer. He like left money for this dude, so he didn't have to worry about money. Mm-hmm. And so there's a whole point that they made in this movie is like boxers usually come from the streets and they have to fight because they can't do anything else. This isn't a life that anybody would choose to do if they didn't have to because they have money, right?
Yeah.
But he wants to fight because it's in him, in his blood or whatever. He wants to fight. So they make a lot of references for people being like, you don't talk like you're from the streets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about that? Did you feel like he wasn't talking like he was from the street? I couldn't distinguish it that much.
No.
And sometimes I actually felt like he was trying to talk like he was from the streets.
I couldn't distinguish it either, but I took that as a storytelling element of there are also things that I don't see on screen,
Right.
So like when he would walk into a room and he would say where he was from, like, or no, when he walked into the first room, they call him like pretty boy, like right away, or something like that. So I think that like, I think that like there's something, at least maybe you don't necessarily see it. Maybe you don't necessarily see it in the movie, but there's an air, a vibe that he's giving off that's causing people to refer to him this way.
I think his vibe was different. I think like his vibe was, and don't get me wrong, like he definitely, because he didn't get adopted, I guess, until he was like 13.
7 or 8.
7 or 8. Like he was, because he was fighting by the time like he got adopted. And the thing is, when you see him interact with, I guess, some of the more hood people in the movie, he definitely is different. Like the thing is, like his posture is different. He's not as, I mean, he may be tough, but he's not as tough as them. If you think about it, like physically, like
right, like and also, we know what his we know what his upbringing is, so we have that understanding of when, as Rocky's giving the background of like, this is why Philly fighters are so great. It's like, well, yeah, he didn't have that experience. He gets both, but the thing is, it shows you two different types of experience. It shows like those other boxers who have like this exterior, like, we know their environment was tough. Yeah. But like, for Adonis, it was like, and Rocky said it multiple times. He's like, that battle he's going to have is with him personally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so they both everyone had a tough life. Right. It's just like, but physically, you could have handled Jules with a psychiatrist. They had to handle, you know what I'm saying? It's I think it's interesting though that it's like that that the question now becomes, was he street or was he not?
But the thing is, we got to see all of it though. That's the thing we always talk about. We didn't get to. This is a movie we get to see the hood people, the guy from the middle, like the educated. Like you get to see
also,
a wide range.
But not just that. To me, not just that, but it wasn't racialized.
No. Right. No.
Because nobody was like, because he was black and people were like, you're not from the hood. And you had white people in the gym also being like, you're not from the hood.
Yeah, homie from Liverpool was like, my father worked in the, he worked.
Exactly. It was about class. It was about the class.
It's like, and it's like, this fucking guy had all this, like.
It was about
class. Grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, which he did. I mean, he like comes into the gym and like, it's the biggest character flaw in the movie, but he comes into the gym and he's like I'll take anybody. My keys are like
he gives his Maserati
to a crazy car.
And you're just like what? Like who does that?
And he's like
and they were like, what do I got to put up for nothing? It's like, all right,
before he even goes to Philly, he had just got a promotion at his job.
Yes.
And and lives in a mansion.
And lives in a
Also,
mansion.
let's think about the fact that he packs up and goes to Philly, finds an apartment, and can live without having a job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that alone is like,
And he's
bruh.
like, yeah, let's just train.
Yeah, like who can
Yeah.
afford? I mean, coming to New York with
It's
no money,
true.
bruh. Man.
So I love that. I love
Yeah,
that
it's
element
great.
of the movie. I
That's great.
just wanted to point it out. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was the use. This is a minor thing, but those dirt bikes and the freaking.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, the projects.
Yes.
That they when they pop the wheelie, because people do that up in Harlem all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, "This is a Philly thing." I'm like, "It's not a Philly thing. This is freaking."
Yeah,
they do this in the hood.
A lot of people around the way do that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you feel like that made this black movie?
No, I think. Oh my goodness! Only reason I'm gonna let you go, James. The
Yeah,
only reason
go
I even
ahead.
thought about that is because I just watched the original Rocky, and this movie like has a lot of parallels. And like when you watch the original Rocky, when Rocky runs down in the neighborhood, all the neighborhood kids or whatever start chasing him.
And they're riding their bikes and stuff.
Yeah, and they're
right?
riding their bikes. But in this day and age, Rocky takes him to a gym that is in the hood. So he's like,
Yeah.
if he's in the hood and these same kids are going to run behind him and chase him, they don't go on their four-wheelers and their dirt bikes. So this is just an up-to-date version. To me,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
if Rocky would have took him to the suburbs, they'd have been white kids on bikes. It just happened to be where the gym was, you know?
I agree with that. I think that it had to do with like updating the scenario, updating
Right.
the situation.
Then the remix to the song?
And the remix to the song.
Woo! Boy, I'm excited right now.
I want to say this. Yes, this is a black movie. It is a movie written by a black man, co-written by two black men, directed by a black man, starring three very strong black actors. It is a black movie because of that, and it is a great movie.
You know what? You're right, James. Let's take we taking the terms back. We taking it back.
Honestly,
taking it back.
it is, and it's great. And
I got
it's,
chills.
and it's so good. And I'm
For those
happy about that.
listeners,
have chills,
James
yo.
has got a presidential glow to him right now.
Yes.
Keep going, James. Keep going.
And the dirt bikes. I mean, my favorite fucking part of this movie, and I think I've said this a couple. I think I've said a couple of parts are my favorite, but is when the kid's like, I heard you was Creed, son. That's what's up. And he just fucking
He just
pops
goes
away.
off.
Just
He just
rolls
goes off.
And then in the training montage when he's fucking
Oh, my
running,
goodness, when he's running?
and the four wheelers and dirt bikes are behind him and around him, and
Yo.
I realized the moment that I was experiencing was Rocky running up the steps and a moment that I've never seen before. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I've
dude.
never seen that
Yeah.
in the context of the movie, but I just felt so inspired. I was like, this is yes.
Yo, time out. Just to add on to that, the moment is so funny because they're running because they're like, oh, you about to go see Rocky? He's like, yeah, because everyone now knows Rocky's sick. So now everybody's riding with him. He makes it to the gym. They circle up, and then that's when the beat drops. Because they had the original like Rocky like montage song. The beat remixes real quick. They start running around him. Now all of a sudden you got them doing. And the thing is, they made stuff that would be so corny look so cool. They had him shadow box in. Why is he shadow boxing in the street with a bunch of kids cheering?
It was great.
And then Rocky looking, I was like,
It's
oh,
true.
I want to go run a mile right now.
It was so good.
We taking the word back. You right, James.
We taking it
This is a
back.
black movie.
It's a black
and
movie.
fucking we love it.
This is the best.
A black movie for everybody.
Everybody get
Yes.
a black movie.
It's a
Black movie because black people created it and are starring it, but not because it's only for black people. It's for everybody.
Because look, we've talked about Barbershop a lot in this episode because it plays in the trailer.
Don't taint it, James.
No.
I know, I'm thinking the same thing.
I'm not. I'm
having a nice moment, man.
We all connect.
We connected and loving each
No,
other.
but I just want to reiterate this fact.
Okay, here we go.
That this is a black movie. It's for everyone. It's a
for
movie.
everybody.
It's a movie. It's about this story. There's a part in the first Barbershop when the movie is just about whatever. There's just about the barbershop. But then, like, 55 minutes into it, and this is not bad, but 55 minutes into it, they go, "This is our country club," and then it becomes, if you are not black, you are watching a story about black people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you have to now be. You have that removal,
Right.
which and what's great
Instead
about
of just being like, this is my story.
right. What's great about this is it's just his story. We're watching
infused with
someone's story,
African-American
and I think
culture.
that is infused with African American culture, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
So the last thing that I want, oh man,
What?
Slipped my mind. Wait, but there's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and that was oh, so Sylvester Stallone. Let's just talk about him for just real quick, because I thought there was a real danger, and I was a little bit nervous while I was watching this movie. I thought there was a danger of, because it was a black lead, and because they were like doing a lot of this urban, real, it didn't feel like in your face. It didn't feel like look how urban this is. It was just like very real. Like, this is life. Like, we're in Philly. This is how things are. Like, it was cool. Like, they go to the music club and like all that stuff. And it was like different elements. It was just like behind, even behind when they were backstage in the music club, and those dudes were just chilling, whatever. Like, yo, fam, like, get the selfie real quick.
For the gram.
For the gram. Yeah.
Then he told her, hey, stop acting light skin. Come over here and say what's up.
Yeah, acting light skin.
Stop
acting light skin. Like, but there was all this stuff that was like, it wasn't like harped on. It was just there.
It was just
because it was just life. But I thought because I know Sylvester Stallone likes these little jokes and stuff like that, and likes to add, his sensibilities to the movie. I was like, oh shoot, is he gonna like try to do a lot of these like black, like not black jokes, but a lot of these like, I'm an old white man with the black dude, but I'm still down and cool and hip.
Yeah, what I mean. What's
do you feel like
about
that happened in the movie?
I didn't feel that
right
in the movie, but I did feel the age difference. I thought that was very prominent, and it was very important. And I was reading, and this might have been what you were feeling. I was reading that was important to the writers. Like, they wanted to bring in this sort of millennial sensibility to it. And like one of my favorite jokes in it. Oh, this movie's very funny. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of heart in it. There's a lot of action, but there's also a lot of humor. There's a lot of humor, and it's very real. But one of my favorite jokes is totally random, but it's right when they first start to train. I think it's when they first start to train, or before. Rocky writes down a list of things that Creed's gonna need.
Oh, awesome.
And he just takes
Michael B. Jordan
takes out his phone. He takes a picture of it. And then
I think he even takes two. I think he's just like,
he takes one.
Yeah, and then he just leaves, and then they just have a discussion about like why he doesn't need the paper and like it being in that cloud, and it's super funny.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like a joke that I've seen before, but I really loved it.
Yeah,
because it was
done really nice.
And the thing is, Braylock, to your question, is like, I don't think Stallone or Rocky ever mentioned the race. Like, race was never addressed. It was like just the fact of like, again, it was the age.
Yeah.
And the fact that like where he came from. Right. It was like, you weren't brought up here. These people do this because of this. Never was never race.
And thinking about race and in this movie, I thought it was very interesting how no one ever, well, this does happen once, but Rocky doesn't say, you look like Creed. Are you?
Well, he does once.
He does.
No,
once.
but he does. No, I mean, before he learns, and it's a short scene before when he learns.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm watching it, and I want him to just be like, "You asking about Creed because you know who he." You know what I mean? Like because you're his seat. You know what I mean? Like I wanted him to like.
It was interesting because when he does say that. They literally shoot, like that shot, which is very good framing, by the way. The shot is literally not Apollo. Oh, I guess so. Apollo's on the wall, and Adonis is standing right under where he is, facing Rocky, while Rocky is under where Rocky is.
Right, yeah, so they mirror.
So they mirror like the image, and I was like,
great direction.
So good.
The way that they did the just real quick, I just want to put some praise on this movie. The way that they did those pop-up things with boom,
the
11-0, 18.
Oh, like when that was great.
Because you knew that dude, the first dude, Wheeler or whatever.
Oh yeah.
When it was like boom, 31-0, I was like, oh, he's gonna knock this kid out.
First off, how did they do those knockouts? I was like, because some of those hits, because I read Michael B., I think he was in Men's Health. He said the point was he trained for like a year and he took some of the punches. He's like, the point was they wanted him to take some of the punches.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, some of those punches, especially that first knockout, when, like, spoiler, he gets knocked out where his body just like limps out. I was like, how do you?
Because he's facing
a
world-class champion.
He said that it was like rigorous choreography. Yeah. And I know that there are some acting classes like in conservatory programs that are like just about like death and and being hurt and like and how do you embody that? And I imagine that like there's a training element.
That last time he gets knocked out, I was like, oh good goodness. I was like, oh, that's a hit. I was like, I don't care. And it's so funny because Stallone, going back to Rocky 4 with when Apollo dies, he says he got hurt on that movie so much so that he had to be flown from, where did they shoot it in, like they shot it in like Canada and had to fly him to like basically back to like California.
Yeah.
Because he got hit so hard in the chest that like his heart like got pushed back and he almost died while making this movie. And I'm
that's
like,
why I don't understand boxing.
God knows what could have happened to Michael B. He's like, this dude almost good man. Okay.
You know what we do have to talk about though.
What's that?
What's that? What do we got?
We got to talk about the swirl.
Oh, I don't want to do this.
Oh man.
But we got to.
Yo, we
Honestly,
gotta
I don't want to do it.
James is okay because we're not going to do a swirl.
What?
We're going to do a segment I like to call Jerah's Thirst Trap. It's something new I thought about.
Oh,
The thirst trap.
The Thirst Trap.
I don't know.
Oh, we in the thirst trap.
I don't know what's happening.
This movie made me so happy to be black that I'm like, you know what? I can't taint it by like forcing some type of like
A white girl
moment in here.
appears out of
I
nowhere.
can't force it. So what I want, all right, I fell in love by watching this movie. Tessa Marie Thompson. Mm-hmm. I fell in love. So I would like to propose to you guys.
I feel like this is somehow going to be worse than the swirl.
I the second you said it, I was like, oh, now I don't like this part.
So I would like to give you guys.
Don't give us anything.
My first date with Tessa Marie
Oh
Thompson.
no.
I had to give you guys my first date. So how this would start is.
Oh my god! I can't believe this is happening.
She looks like one of those people who hangs out in like coffee shops and like poetry clubs. What I would do is I would go on Twitter. I feel like she tweets, right?
What?
And listen, hold on, hear me out. I'm gonna go on Twitter. She's like, oh, I'm about to go to like the Speakeasy
Lord.
in Brooklyn. To the Speakeasy in Brooklyn. I'm gonna show up, drop my name in the poetry. Hold on, break.
Why is it
my
a
dream.
trap?
Okay.
Why
Let me
is it a
finish.
trap?
Because
All right.
listen,
All right.
I'm gonna go on to Facebook or social media, see the things she loves. Like, oh, does she love rainbows? Does she love like cupcakes? Cool. I'm gonna make a poem all about rainbows and cupcakes. I'm gonna do this poem, right? I'm gonna do this poem in front of everybody. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, this dude should be the poet of all time." I'm gonna get snaps.
You're gonna get
and then
snaps.
she's gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, who is this?" I'm a spotter. Single light will come down. All right, I'm like, "Hey, put a light on her."
Wait, what?
And put a light on her.
You
before
just
I do
had a
this next poem.
speakeasy that has a spotlight?
Yeah, like, hey, before I do this next poem, put a light on her. And so she know this poem is for her, right? I finished the poem. Kill it. All right. Women gonna be like, oh my God, can I get your autograph? I'm like, no, I got somewhere to go. Beeline it for her table.
Yeah, I got somewhere to go.
Beeline
The
it for her
person
table.
that I put a spotlight on.
Beeline it for the table. I got
She's
two
very
coffees.
confused right now.
No, she's not.
She's
She
very
knows-
confused.
she knows
She's
what's
looking
happening.
around. She's
She
like,
knows
what
what's
is
happening. She
going
knows
on?
what's
There's a famous actress who tweeted that she was going to be at a
Listen,
place
people
and
do-
then just is in the audience.
Listen, because she loves poetry. All right. I get a macchiato coffee because who doesn't love macchiato coffees? All right.
What's
Chocolate.
Okay.
Chocolate macchiato, right?
okay, yeah,
Chocolate
right.
macchiato.
Yeah.
We sit down and have a conversation about like life, art, being black, braids. You know what I'm saying? Important stuff like that. All right. Next thing we know, it's gonna be snowing outside, but that beautiful thick white snow that makes it so that like when you walk, you leave footprints, and no dogs have peed on the snow yet, so it's all just beautiful, right? We walking down the streets of Brooklyn. People are like, oh, y'all make a good couple. I'm like,
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
I'm
Honestly?
like, yeah. And then next thing you know, we get to the stop sign because she's like,
You got me with the snow. I'm interested.
You in it, right? You in it, right? You in it. You in it. All right. Now, mind you, what happens is my phone goes off. All right. My mom calls. My mom's on my phone. She's
Why
like,
are we
"My mom."
complicating
No. Hear me out, because
Okay.
this is the point. She's like, "Oh my God, you love your mom?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I respect women." She's like, "Oh, I think I love you," and I'm like, "I think I love you." too."
Wait, she falls in love with you after 2 minutes?
Listen.
All right, I'm
love at first sight, bro.
going back into
love
my
at
seat
first
now.
sight, bro.
Nah.
Love at first sight. Next thing you know, this is what literally happens. All right, if you will, the
You
camera pulls back,
And when
and we walk slowly off into the into the sunset. Right?
wait,
We
I
just-
thought it's dark.
I mean,
outside.
what happens into the moonlight? You walk off into the moonlight.
Okay,
Yeah.
into the
Walk off into the
moonlight.
moonlight, and you know what happens? You know what happens as you walk up into the moonlight?
I don't. Tell me.
2 doves float overhead. 2 doves.
Well, if it was in New York City, they'd be pigeons.
No. Well, you know what? 2 white pigeons. Matter of fact, 2 white pigeons, and all of a sudden behind it, an eagle.
What?
What?
An American bald eagle.
Somebody please.
Bald
An American bald
Somebody
eagle.
please tweet.
in New
All of
York
a sudden
City.
behind it, an eagle. I want that on a t-shirt.
And
all of a sudden behind it, an eagle.
You guys
Wow.
have just been thirst trapped.
Oh man. Oh, so we were trapped. We're the ones that were
Yeah,
trapped.
you're right. We were trapped by your thirst. All right. Moving on.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's nothing else really to talk about.
We have to say
Well, yeah, we're going to talk
But
about
is After Earth
what?
is After Earth good? Like, is it good?
Are
Like,
you gonna honestly say is After Earth better than this movie?
no.
So we're talking about the movie Creed.
Yeah.
In the Rocky franchise.
Right.
You're talking about a sci-fi
No, I
Movie
think
with Jaden Smith and Will Smith.
M. Night Shyamalan,
I don't see what your problem is. I feel like that connects perfectly.
where they go back to Earth.
Yeah.
And it's evolved to everything kills them, but all of it is all it is
No,
is just.
but hear me out. So
it's
in
just
Creed-
an overgrowth.
so-
The biggest thing on the biggest. It has nothing to do with Earth. It has to do with the creature that was on the ship to begin with.
No, but like,
so
but
why
so-
are they trying to pretend like Earth
because-
is the thing that's killing them?
So in Creed, Donnie
Yeah.
is on a quest.
say his name
he's
like
on,
you know
he's
him.
on a quest. Donnie. First name basis,
Adonis.
nickname basis.
Adonis Creed.
Donnie is on a quest to connect with his father. He's on a quest.
His
connect
father's
with his father.
dead.
That's close though.
Well,
He's
but
trying
but
to connect,
in,
and
but
Jaden's trying to connect
Jaden's
with Will.
trying to
I don't know if
connect.
he's trying to connect with his father.
No, he is. He's trying to connect.
And Jaden's not trying to connect with Will. He's also. Though
Well,
they are
yeah.
both living, they're all trying to up.
Also, but I have
they're
another
trying
question.
to live in the shadow of their father. That you're right. It
I
does
have
connect
another
in a way.
question
It
that-
does connect in a way. After Earth is a terrible movie. Continue.
That relates a little more closely, though. Is that new Fantastic Four movie any good?
Don't you do that to Michael
Is,
B.
is that movie?
Don't
any
you
good?
do that to Michael
I
B.
haven't seen
I ain't
it.
touching
I'm
it.
not. I'm not
I ain't
doing this.
touching
Hey,
it.
hey, don't
I'm
do
not
that to
doing
him.
this to Michael B. I
I
just
ain't
want to ask
touching
the
it.
question.
Don't do that to him.
Because I just
He is in that movie though.
That
and-
movie is bad.
Is it bad? I didn't see it.
I saw it.
Is it
I
still
saw
at
it.
11%
I don't think
on Rotten
oof.
Tomatoes?
Yo, the thing is,
Guys, we got to do the cause. We gotta
Okay,
do the
all right, let's
cause.
do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So, for those of you who don't know, perhaps you saw the movie Creed and you were like, I got to listen to. What's this Black Man Can't Jump? Oh, they talking about black stuff and this movie. That's cool. What's the cause? Well, the cause. More leading black actors in movies.
Jonathan Braylock has two peace fingers. He
That's
is
right.
running
He's
for
doing the
office.
Richard Nixon right
He's
now.
running for office.
That's right, baby. More leading black actors in movies. So that's how we rate this movie. Either a black fist, meaning it helped the cause fully, a white palm, meaning it was so-so, or nothing, meaning it didn't help the cause. And we can't, we like this movie, but it doesn't matter if we liked it. Did it help the cause?
True. Does it help the cause?
You
You
know?
know what? It doesn't matter if we liked it.
It-
I just want
you know.
everybody to know.
So
This has
we're-
nothing to do with.
Hey,
if
y'all
we gotta
vote
throw
right.
it up.
Y'all better vote right.
I don't know. I
don't
got to
know.
think about this. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at both of y'all. Y'all better vote right.
Here we go. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yes!
Oh!
Yes! It got
What?
this all around.
I mean, why are we even trying to pretend like this movie didn't help the cause?
Exactly.
I mean,
This movie.
This movie is the cause.
This movie is
This
the
movie
cause.
is the embodiment of the motherfucking cause.
That is true.
So here I'll start because this movie hits literally everything that we wanted to hit.
Yes.
1, it's got a leading black actor.
Yes.
2, it's got a black director
Yep.
and screenwriter.
Yep.
3, race is barely mentioned in the film, but 4, African American culture is infused in the film.
Yep.
It's not ignored.
Infused.
It's not like
Infused.
it's not like, oh, we're playing like it's, we're going to pretend this guy is white. No, he's black, but he's also rich, but he's still struggling. He's got flaws, he's got pride. My favorite part was like, yo, baby Creed, baby. And he's like, don't call me that. Yo, man, you in my place, man. I'm trying to show you some love. What you talking about? And then he just knocks that dude out.
One hit.
I was
Smooth
like,
knockout.
ooh. And then he knocks out one security guard.
Like,
Yo, he knocked 2
yo.
people out. I was like, damn. That was my favorite part. Anyway, it's got all of that. There were so many pitfalls that they could have fell into.
So many.
The Sylvester Stallone one, I agreed. I think they handled that beautifully. It was more about his youth and had nothing to do with him being black. He wasn't like, yo, what's up, dog, homie, blah, blah, blah. If this movie was made in the 90s, it would have been that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would have been that.
Yeah.
But to me, this is one of the first films I was like, this is 2015. This is a film that is representative of 2015. You know what I mean? Like, this is where most movies should be at, even though most movies aren't there. So, Black Fist, baby. Okay, that's me.
Yeah, I gave it 2 black fists.
Okay.
Just so everybody's
Right.
aware. Just so everybody's aware. Everything that JB said is exactly how I feel. I feel like this movie is 100% the embodiment of what we want in films. We want them to be about beautiful black people that are people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of know what you're saying because you started sounding weird there at the end.
Beautiful black people.
Okay, I don't know
who
what he's
are
doing.
people.
You
know
always
what I'm
ruin the
saying?
moments.
How am I ruining this
you-
movie?
you-
Honestly, I still have tingles inside because of how much joy that I was filled with. And I feel like because this movie, because of the Rocky, the whole fact that it's in the Rocky franchise, I just feel like it's going to branch out. It's going to connect to so many people. And I just think that shit is beautiful.
Yeah, man. I don't even know what to say. Like, I think what both of you guys said is right. Like, this movie, I feel like this is the thing, is I guess maybe I am the negative one out of the group. It's like, this movie feels so important to me that I pray and I hope Hollywood has, like, notices it. Like, sees, like, this movie is making money. This movie has great reviews. This movie didn't cater to, like, black people. It was a movie that happened to have black people in it. You know, and it's like this can exist without alienating anyone else.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, I just hope that, like, whatever Hollywood exec, I think this was a Warner Brothers film. I just hope that people are like, oh, this one thing worked. We should just try other things that have people. Maybe like the next movie isn't black. Maybe the next movie has like some Asians. Maybe the next one has like Puerto Ricans. Maybe the next one. Like, I'm saying, but maybe it's like this just shows that like people of color in general. Like, you know what? Let's put like. I mean, shoot, man. Can we get some women of color on screen? Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, this movie right here has gone beyond just like the black man causing me. Like, this shows that like you can have a lead black actress in this movie. I mean, her, like, what was it? Bianca was going deaf.
Yeah,
you know, like, I like
deaf, but she had her own career too.
She had her own career,
like,
yo.
You know,
she wasn't dependent on him.
She was such a three-dimensional.
Yeah, like wasn't
character.
dependent on him. She left. She's like, you know what? You're doing the most. Like, I mean, there was one part in the movie
maybe
where
we
she
should just
took
go in
off.
separate ways and do our own thing
Yeah,
right now.
she took off. Like, she took out her hearing aids at one point.
Yeah.
That was rough.
And he was. This is literally. And this is
That
the
was
thing,
rough.
This is the thing I liked about it too. Is like this movie did two things I feel like you rarely see. And James, we talked about this yesterday. When it comes to like black men, for instance, we are rarely shown as being vulnerable. Like vulnerable.
Yeah.
And at that scene to me was
Very
so pivotal
vulnerable.
because he's at the door and he's like, please don't
need
leave
you.
me. I need you right now.
right now.
And then she's like, I understand that, but like I worked so hard to get what you just messed up or almost messed up.
Yeah.
It's your
think-
pride. I can't.
Your
I'm not,
pride.
And
I'm
I
not
think
doing it.
That
She said,
like,
I'm not doing it.
Right in there, maybe even a little bit before that. Yes, because he finds out the thing that we have not spoken about on this.
Yeah, we haven't
And I'm
spoiled a
really
lot of
glad,
things.
I'm glad
Yeah, we
that
haven't
did.
spoiled a lot.
We didn't spoil the end.
he finds that thing out. And he's like in a very vulnerable state for like several scenes. Like I think through the end of the movie, like
Yeah.
he's just in a very like vulnerable state. And I don't think that black people are seen, especially men.
Men, it's black men.
I get to show that kind of vulnerability in movies, and you know he has to live in that for a while.
Yeah, and the thing is like that, and I'm about to be done, but like that scene again just shows like, and I think this is something that the black community is really good about. But like when you have a woman that you love, she's always your queen, right?
Yeah.
Like I know like being brought up is like, yo, you found a queen. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that moment when he's literally, and the thing is, they don't show his face. I don't know if anyone knows. They literally show behind him and they show his posture. And he starts off that scene like kind of standing up. But when he's knocking on that door, it's probably way overthinking it. But like his body, his left half of his body, he's literally just leaning on this door with his head on it like, yo, I need you right now. And if you look at the reverse shot of her, she's standing straight up, pondering everything. Like,
I
thinks
don't
about
think that's
it.
overthinking it at all.
I mean, she thinks about it.
I think the director knew.
Yeah, I'm saying. But it's like that thing of like
Yeah,
the show,
Ryan
like
got
the
this
strength.
joint on
It's
lock.
like, yo, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to walk away. And they make sure you know that he's talking to nobody.
He is there talking to no one.
I mean,
yeah,
how often
I mean,
how often have we seen like a black couple on screen that has that kind of like man?
yo,
Yeah,
We didn't need the swirl.
we didn't even need the swirl today.
swirl.
Yo.
Three black fists.
we got a great new segment.
Yo, Ryan,
Ryan,
yo,
Aaron,
put
Mike.
us in your movies. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
No,
if you want to, if you
honestly, I
James isn't jealous.
Last night, I'm not,
not.
and I'm very happy.
We-
that
we
I'm
are.
not.
We're
but
just proud.
last night, as
Yeah.
soon as the movie was over, I immediately started tweeting at Marvel because Black Panther still doesn't have a director, and I feel like we know.
Oh,
who
yeah, you're right. It
should
does.
be.
You do.
Well, the thing is,
We
I don't
do.
want him to do it if he can't. Like, they can't. Like, if Ava couldn't do it because like they
That's
wouldn't give her
true.
creative.
Marvel
I want.
has to.
I want
Yeah,
someone
Marvel
to do it,
and
like,
and-
got to let them do it right. They got to let them.
because
do
it's
it
a
right.
touchy subject, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, they had to like. I don't know. Josh Whedon did it right, so they. I don't
And
know.
They can,
and
they
the
want to.
Russo brothers did a great job with it.
Well,
and Tessa Marie Thompson just want to give you a special hello.
Stop. You don't need to do
Literally,
that.
you did an entire segment.
You
where
just
went
ruined
on a
it.
date with
Did I
her.
You
ruin
ruined
it?
a nice moment.
You
I just
just,
wanna
you
tell
just
her
went
hello.
on a date with her.
I just want to tell her
She
hello.
knows.
All right.
Okay.
If she ever hears this,
That's what makes
she
sure she-
knew already.
I'm just
before
having to make sure she.
God's queen.
Yeah,
Guys, it's time for some plugs. Plug it up.
Plug it in, plug it in.
We're actually not doing an ad for plugins.
Oh.
All right, guys, this is Jonathan Braylock on the mic. Yo, follow me at John Braylock. That's JONBRAYLOCK on Twitter, Instagram, johnbraylock.com for my website. Check out some shows. Also follow our Black Men Podcast at Black Men Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook. And we got that website, y'all, what is it? Blackmen podcast.squarespace.com. We got to get the
We
real.
do not know what our
We got to get a real
what our
website.
URL
Figure
is.
it out.
We got that.
But we got to get that domain.
Yeah. We'll talk to Squarespace.
Yeah, we gotta
They
get that
good
hooked
though.
up. We gotta get that
yeah.
hooked up.
And and I'm gonna plug Astronomy Club.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna do that.
Oh yeah, do it. No, you do it, Jerah. You got
right,
you got it up. I see you got the calendar out.
I
You
do.
all ready?
Hey, if any of you guys are in New York City on Thursday, December 10th, come on down to UCB Chelsea at 6:30 to check out Astronomy Club Presents A Journey Through Black History. That is me, John, James, and then five other wonderful African American performers of the UCB. We have a show taking us through Black history. It's at Upright Citizens Brigade. Hey, that's a long name. Let's say UCB. Just come, check it out, have fun. We'll be there after the show too. So just say what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. James, you want to plug your?
Yeah, follow me. Okay. Troy just gave me a look, but follow me at James Third Comedy on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Third, like I said, every time is 3RD. JamesThirdComedy.com, also 3RD. And yeah, that's it. That's where you can find me.
You can find me on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? I got a Twitter. I still don't know how to change the name on that jump yet.
Also, rate and review us on iTunes. And if you're giving us 1-star reviews,
Hey, dude. You'll give us 1-star review. I'm going to say like.
LIKE.
but you can like us on Facebook.
Yes, you can.
Yes. That's why we say
throw
it. It's
some
called
reviews,
subliminal
y'all.
advertising, sir.
So get with the program.
Ever heard of
On
it?
ABC.
Ever heard of subliminal advertising,
Don't worry,
sir?
James, calm
Yeah,
down.
I
James.
just got subliminal advertised because there used to be this thing on ABC where they'd be like, "Get with the program on ABC." You guys don't remember it, but I do.
Braylock.
All right. Oh, and next week we are having very special guests.
The specialist.
Yes. The bosses are
The
coming.
bosses, Jake and Amir.
Taking a me, baby.
Taking a me,
Blah, blah,
coming.
blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry.
Why do you
sorry.
keep
I'm
doing
sorry.
that?
You really need to stop.
Oh, my
Racist
goodness.
trumpet. Listen, Jake and Amir are coming, and you know what? We decided we're going to do the film that kind of created the name of our podcast. We're doing
Yes.
White Men Can't Jump. We talking Woody Harrelson,
Wesley
and
Snipes.
Wesley Snipes,
And
White, Black.
Rosie Perez.
And little Rosie Perez.
Little Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez.
All right. So tune in next week. Check out White Men Can't Jump, and we will see you in your earbuds.
What was that?
That's where we'll see them at.
In the earbuds?
Inside their
That's so creepy.
We will see you in your imagination as you imagine us talking in your earbuds.
That's super creepy.
Next week. Peace.
That was a HeadGum podcast.